Nut Nerd Podcast, episode 314. You had me at for gaming.
Welcome to the Nut Nerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Well, good day to you, sir. How are you? We're finally recording. You had to wait on me.
Yes, you were off eating food, as people often do.
Yes, I made the mistake of going out for lunch on a Sunday.
Yes.
And there's the old sailor stories about what you're supposed to do. Like, what is it if it's pink skies,
early
you're gonna
dawn,
die,
red,
something like that.
red
It's one of
death.
those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't go to lunch after church if you need to do anything.
You will surely be late.
Yes. And listeners, we're going to leave it up to you. We're doing a little testing. Dave is recording with his AirPod Pros instead of his usual headset today. So we figured, hey, we love AirPods. We should be able to record a podcast episode. So hopefully you will be able to hear them, but hopefully the audio will be at or exceed current standards.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of hope or faith in this experiment, but I do know that you need to buy me AirPod Pro Max to try those out next time. Those over-the-ear ones that cost about $500 or $600.
Yeah, those things are ridiculously priced, but I've heard they are good. I just have zero need for them.
Yeah, they sound great.
Yes. Well, let us move into some follow-up. We had our Apple's best of lists last week and the podcasts that we hadn't really heard of any of them.
Yeah.
But I was actually listening to the Rich on Tech podcast, a previous pick of the week. Rich DeMiro from LA, one of the LA news stations that does kind of all their tech segments and everything. But anyways,
yes.
One of the articles that he was discussing that I thought was interesting. It's actually put out by Google in the, you can find it on Google's blog, which is blog.google, because they have the Google top domain.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, it was written by Saram Gizaw, product manager. Yeah, Sarah Bellum, product manager from the Chrome Web Store, and it's our favorite Chrome extensions of 2021. And we've talked a lot about different Chrome extensions and had some as picks of the week, but they have some different ones here that I thought most people use a computer at some point. Most people are using a Chrome, at least Chrome-based browser, and if you are using some other browser like Safari has extensions, but I thought we'd look through these and just kind of see what they had, what Google picked as their top ones, and for the communicate and collaborate section, which we all do a lot with our devices these days. They had Loom, which is makes it real easy to capture and share videos like of your computer screen or with your webcam. It's kind of like a built-in browser video maker if you have to do a walkthrough or something like that.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful tool.
Yes. One that I hadn't heard of, Mote, which allows you to give quick feedback through voice commenting and transcripts. Have you heard of Mote, M-O-T-E?
No, this is new to me.
Yes. And then WordTune, which Rich was talking about, it is very similar to my preferred method, Grammarly, or Microsoft has one built in. I mean, like Gmail has a little grammar checker built in. Most things do. But Microsoft, if you are a Microsoft whatever they're calling it, 365 or something subscriber, you get theirs for free. There's WordTune is this one, and it looks like it's pretty popular. It's got 5-star rating on over 1,000 reviews with over 500,000 users. So that's a pretty good sign. And it looks like it says add to Chrome, it's free. And then they have a premium at $10 a month or premium for Teams, and they say, let's talk. But
yeah, you can't afford it when they don't put the price in there.
Yes. Yeah. So it looks like the free version, you can rewrite or explore new ways to rephrase sentences 10 times a day. I could not imagine life without Grammarly. If I'm using like let's say Apple Pages where Grammarly doesn't work, I will copy and paste it out of there into somewhere where I can use Grammarly.
Grammarly
just because
is amazing.
Yeah, it helps me write much better.
You need it right now when you talk.
Yes, I need talk better. I need speak tune to tune my speaking. There's productivity ones, which there's Forest, which I've heard of this one, that gamifies productivity through virtual tree planting and rewards. Dark Reader protects your eyes and sleep schedule during long work days, which I use dark mode, so I don't know. Yeah. But a lot of websites aren't in dark mode, so maybe it's an additional.
Well, what's funny is that Google picked these out, and Google has dark mode for their apps like Gmail, but they don't have dark mode, I don't think, in the browser. It's not built in. Why don't they build it in?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's why they're picking it. And it does have a fun little Darth Vader inspired icon for that one. So you might want Dark Reader just for that. Tab Manager Plus, which helps you, saves you from drowning in a sea of never-ending tabs. I should check that one out.
Well, I don't know if it's an extension or if it's the built-in tools that Chrome has now. But one of my coworkers has started using tabs in their tab manager in their Google Chrome, and they like it. So I think it's just the built-in one, though.
Yeah, and then Nimbus Screenshot and Screen Video Recorder makes it easier to quickly screenshot and record content to share across platforms. We've talked about lots of different. Every operating system has ways to do it built in, but I think this is more of a browser-based extension. Then they have some more for learning, virtually Cami, Insert Learning, Toucan, and Remembery, which I have not heard of any of those.
Yeah, they're all educational-based type stuff.
Yes. And Make and Save Some Change. Stylus helps you build and install custom themes and skins for your favorite sites. And then Rakuten is one of the ones. There's many different ones where it'll help you find coupons or discounts on different websites. I use Ernie, but I know there's a couple other
Honey.
ones.
Is there Honey or something?
Honey,
like that?
Yes, Honey. Yeah. Honey app or whatever. So there are ways, and a couple times it's saved me some money. It's usually nothing major, but it'll pop up saying, hey, do you want to apply this 2% cash back on this website? And so there's all kinds of those.
And I don't typically do those because they track all of your browsing history.
Yes. And we'll get back to some more of our fun tracking stories towards the end of the episode. But so some good things there. There are so many, millions of Chrome extensions, hundreds of thousands.
I would say hundreds of thousands. I doubt there are millions, but at least hundreds of thousands.
And if there's something like, I use several, LastPass, Grammarly, the one I use to screenshot web pages, I use that all the time. Ernie, couple crypto related ones that I won't get into. But I have a lot of them installed. A pro tip for you is if you do have a bunch of extensions installed, it can really slow down your browser, especially if you're using Chrome. So if there's ones you don't need all the time, you can go into the settings and toggle them off until you need them. And I do that because, I'll see this list from Google, I'll add them all, and then I'm not really using them. So I try to keep it just the ones I'm actively using in my web browser, which will help speed things up and not bog down your system as much.
Very smart.
Yes. And then a follow-up from one of our bonus odd takes. It was the scan of the month with the Lego minifig. Yeah. Well, as much as we love Lego minifigs, this week they did, or this week on scan of the month, they did AirPods and the AirPods evolution. So they have some CT scans of different AirPod model, the AirPod Pro and the original style AirPods, the first generation from 2016. This week is the 5th anniversary.
Wow.
It was October of 2016. Seems like it's been longer than that, but December of 2016 was when they came out. I think it was like December 21st that it was 30 degrees out, and I went down to the Bridgeport Apple store to wait in line in the morning to pick up a pair the first day, as I like to do.
And your life has never been the same since.
No, it is. This is true.
If we can just take a moment to talk about how freaking cool the technology is to do these scans of these devices. It is something out of science fiction. I mean, it is accurate, high resolution, color coded. I don't know what probably the different density of the material or something.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like seeing a full color X-ray or a false color X-ray at super high resolution. It's pretty neat to look at.
And they do have the new third generation AirPods, the ones that I got, that I'm still debating on whether I like them better than the second generation AirPods. I'm still using them. The biggest detriment on the third generation, they've got a ton of great features, and I've probably said this before, is I was so used to, after 5 years with the other style, of just the quick double tap to pause and play, which I use all the time. And now with the AirPods Pro and then the third generation AirPods, you have to kind of grab and click. So it's a 2-finger and a little more intentional thing instead of the quick tap. But
you have to squeeze it.
Yes. After 5 years of training, now I'm starting to get used to the method on the newer models. But
I took to it right away. I did not like tapping my ear. It hurt my ear every time I did it. So ear mileage may vary depending on which one you get. But Nate loves it. I prefer the squeezy squeeze. But if you visit this website, be sure to scroll down because there are just incredible.
Yes.
When you scroll and they tilt and spin and do all that stuff.
No, it's
amazing.
Yeah, they're changing and tilting and spinning. And they actually, and I noticed now at the very bottom of the website, they have a get notified when our next scan is live, suggest a future scan where you can put in your email and then suggest something for them to scan. So I am subscribing now because we will try to cover these each month because that's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
And you know what else is pretty cool? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
You bet your bottom dollar it is. All right, so this week I thought we would bring it back home to the iOS platform that we never talk about ever.
Yes.
Now, it seems like that's all we talk about. This one, though, does branch out into Mac OS. Faithful listener Tyler and I were talking about notes, and he was bringing up some of his frustrations about finding things because of the sort order or whatever. And I said, well, you can adjust the sort order in notes. And he's like, I have to look into that. I'm like, oh, what have you been doing with your time? Yes. When I discovered it a while back, I was very, very happy. So this works on your iPhone, an iPad, or a Mac. We've all been faced with this. You create a folder, you put a bunch of notes in there, and by default, it puts the most recent one at top. And so let's say best fast food restaurants, that PDX fast foodie might make a list of. You go along and you're like, I do a quick note because I need to write down a list. And I did something else. And pretty soon that note of best restaurants just gets buried down in the stuff because the most recently used ones stack on top of it. And they're not in any kind of order other than when you last opened the document. Who knows what order that was. It's just kind of random.
Yeah.
So if you are in a folder and it gets a little nuancy, for example, I'll just say, if you go into all your notes, I have one titled All iCloud. And if you go and try to sort that, it's not going to give you the same options as if you had a folder with a bunch of notes in there. And so depending where you are, it's a little nuanced, but we're going to talk about folders or notes, for example. If I click on my notes, and I'm going to do this on an iOS device because that's what I was practicing on. Heaven forbid I learned something new on an actual computer.
While you're getting your stuff pulled up, I did log into iCloud.com in case you needed another option to view your notes. And I often forget about iCloud.com. You can view your notes, but I do not see any sorting options. So just real quickly, a little sidestep. Through iCloud.com, you log in with your Apple ID. You can access your iCloud mail, your contacts, calendar, photos, iCloud Drive, notes, reminders, and then you can also use Pages, Numbers, and Keynote, and your Find My stuff, which it still says Find iPhone here, and that's asking me to sign in again. So I don't know if you can do the full Find My or just find your own iPhone. So I wanted to just remind people because I often forget about iCloud.com, and they have added some of these features in there.
They do indeed. So on your iOS device, you're going to For example, I click on the all iCloud. This is everything. This is, of course, presuming that you synchronize your notes with iCloud, which I think you probably should if you have multiple devices. But you'll notice in the left-hand sidebar at the top in the right-hand section of that sidebar, there's a little circle with an ellipse in there, 3 single dots. And that is your key to finding the sort on iOS devices. If you tap that and you're in all iCloud, you have very limited views. You can see as a gallery or a list, and that's basically it. If you go to a different folder, for example, I have one just called Notes. If I tap that same circle with the ellipsis in it, there's a new option that appears, Sort Notes by default. And if I tap that, it's going to say by date created, by title, newest to oldest, oldest to newest. And of course, that's by date. If I choose title, it'll do it by title. And you're saying, well, what if I want to do it in reverse alphabetical order? Well, you then again have to tap the circle with the ellipsis, click on Sort Notes by parentheses title this time, because that's what's selected. Then you will see the option A to Z or Z to A. So it's dependent upon what you choose. If it's by date, it says newest to oldest. If it's by title, it's A to Z, et cetera, et cetera. So that works inside folders, nested folders, whatever. The only place it doesn't really work is with all your notes. Your big pile of unorganized notes, those are just by creation date. They're just there. But if you organize them at all and manage them, you can adjust the sort order of your various folders and stuff. That works the same on the iPhone. Now on the computer, it is a bit different. I'll go back into my notes folder on my computer. I have to go up into the View menu item at the top of the screen. There's nothing within the interface that there's not that circle with the ellipsis, which you'd think for consistency's sake they would put it there. But it is indeed at the top of the screen under the View option, and there is a Sort Folders By with the same options as on iOS. So date created, date edited, the title, etc. And you can adjust by newest to oldest or from A to Z, as our friends up north in the Great White North say, or Z to A. That's it. A lot of people don't know that you can sort your notes in iOS, and that might prevent them from using them because they'll say, hey, I don't like the way it organizes my stuff, so I'm not going to use it. But now you have full control.
Yes. And I am a devout fan of the search function and trying to remember a word that is in the note that isn't in a million different notes. But I do find for my own workflow, I have a lot of folders within notes, like for each of my clients and some other groupings like PDX Fast Foodie and Not Nerd. But I always have it on the most recent because I figure there's a good chance that what I'm going to need to reference is also something I was working on recently, but I can definitely see, depending on how you use notes, that those different organization methods would be very helpful.
And the last thing I'll say is you can organize your notes and or folders by a date. You could put 2021.12 for the month December .12, which is it's the 12th today as we record. So 2021.12.12. And then the title of your note, and you could sort them by title, and you can control where in the list those go. So there's a million different ways to organize stuff, but with a little thinking outside the box, you should be able to set it the way that you want.
Yeah. Well, a perfect example, we use a shared notes folder for the Not Nerd episode notes, and we each one, the first line, which is used as the title, we put the episode numbers, but quickly scanning down our list, I can see that they are not, mine are sorted by date edited, but they are not in numerical order because we might go back into an old episode and update something, so then it's been edited more recently. So if I was smart, I would have these sorted. And I do see in my Not Nerd show notes folder that on my Mac, that at the very top of the list of notes, there is a little drop down there for how you would like them organized. So I was just able to sort by title. And then if I go Z to A, now it's got them in order, except for the WWDC 2019 episode 182, which we got off of our naming convention on a couple of them. But
well, and I have to correct myself as well. In the sidebar on the Mac, when you hover over a folder, my least favorite thing comes up, a contextual menu item.
Yes.
meaning that it is only active when you're hovering above it. There is a little circle with an ellipsis in the folder that you can do a little shortcut to those commands. So you don't have to go clear up to the menu bar inches above. You can do it right there. So we're discovering things all the time, and shame on you, Apple, for hiding elements of your user interface under a mouse cursor that may or may not ever hover over such a thing. So
yes.
Please forgive me for not seeing that right away.
Yes, good catch. Well, on to our takes for the week. It is as I've mentioned, this time of year tends to be a little slower in the news, but we did find some stories this week. And this first one was from news.yahoo.com. You know that number one news source, which I think it is still a top news source for people is Yahoo. But it was from Axios, and the headline is over 200 newspapers now involved in quiet lawsuits versus Google and Facebook, which is kind of funny that it's quiet lawsuits that's on Yahoo News and that I came across it in my news feeds. But this is the first paragraph kind of made me chuckle a bit. Newspapers all over the country have been quietly filing lawsuits against Google and Facebook for the past year, alleging the two firms monopolized the digital ad market for revenue that would otherwise go to local news. So it kind of seems like one of your typical stories of, hey, Polaroid sues Canon for making great digital cameras and getting rid of film camera, all of this different stuff. But there's all these different lawsuits and more newspapers are getting involved. And a lot of it is, where Facebook and Google are giving you enough of the news story that you never have to go to the actual local news website, where then they have 10 billion horrible ads to try to make money off of you, which is that's part of the problem. That is, I don't want to go to news sites because they've got the Taboola is one of the common ones where it's at the end of the article, there'll be 4 things and it's see which celebrity lost 750 pounds. And then there's a picture of Jennifer Aniston. You click on the link and it's somebody you've never heard of in your life. So just this total clickbait stuff, which I know I've said it before, in my opinion, as a non-journalist, that journalistic integrity goes out of the way when you allow really crappy ads that look like news stories on your website trying to make money. But I know there's more to the story than that. But watch for these things, and they're trying to get back pay from big tech on their lost ad revenue, which I know in Australia they've had the whole thing with news being able to be shown on Google and all these different things like that, where trying to navigate how to keep all these dying news organizations in business. Well, it is a bit like making a deal with the devil, because I believe in Australia they tried that, right? They're well, you have to pay us if you're going to put these links and stuff to news articles. And so Google said, fine, we just won't put anything there. Yeah. And then traffic and revenue to those websites went almost to zero. And they're we're sorry, put them back. Yes. And so they're still they only have one way to get traffic to their site, and that's through Google, which is not really the way it should be. No. With a free and open internet, there shouldn't be one company controlling whether you have visibility on the internet or not. But sadly, that's how it's become. If you don't play by Google's game, you don't get eyeballs. Yep. Yes. And speaking of eyeballs on your website, Amazon is shutting down its Alexa website ranking system. So I made sure to get that all out very quickly. They're not shutting down Alexa, but Alexa.com, sharing the same name, which we've referenced in the past, has been a global ranking system for web traffic data and top websites. And it's apparently been available for the past 25 years. Wow. Yes. And it's very helpful for, people trying to see how their website's doing and all this stuff. But they announced that they will be shutting it down. Now, they didn't give a whole lot of details here as to why Here's the statement. 25 years ago, we founded Alexa Internet. After 2 decades of helping you find, reach, and convert your digital audience, we've made the difficult decision to retire Alexa.com on May 1st, 2022. Thank you for making us your go-to resource for content research, competitive analysis, keyword research, and so much more, the company stated. So it's like, okay, no reasoning behind it, but...
we're not making money on this, so we're shutting it down. That's probably what it really is. Yes,
it's using 1/100th of one of our AWS servers somewhere, and we don't want to give up that $10 a month. So I'm sure it's actually probably much more intensive than that to run something like this, especially with as wide as the internet is these days, as wide as the World Wide Web is.
Yeah. Well, the premise on the website is that they're turning off the service because of a significant drop in its popularity. So nobody's using it apparently.
Yes, we'll see. And speaking of Amazon and AWS, they had an outage this past week.
Yeah, they did.
It was affecting a lot of things. Were you personally affected by this, Dave?
Yes, our people management program that we use at work is web-based and completely was down for several hours. Yeah. And so everybody just played the little dinosaur game on Chrome. I think.
Google said it was broken. Yeah, it caused problems for Alexa, not the website ranking service we just talked about, but the voice assistant, Ring devices, Disney Plus, deliveries. I mean, there is... we've talked about it before. So much of the digital world runs on AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft. So when they have an outage, it's not just their companies that are affected. It is all kinds of services. I didn't notice anything. Maybe I did have some issues with something and just wasn't paying attention enough. But that's never good when that stuff goes down.
Well, what's funny is I'm the technology manager and the database manager, and I found out well after the fact by somebody that it was down. I was like, oh, really? I haven't even looked at my email yet today. I was busy doing all kinds of different projects, and I was the last to know, basically.
Nice. Not always the worst thing. Well, a couple security and privacy stories. We were talking about, the Chrome extensions and especially like the deal ones tracking your data and gathering data on you. And it seems like we have stories on these every week, but there was 2 that you found this week. The first one, Verizon is, and the headline makes me upset on this one because it says, it's from Inc.com. The big black bold headline, Verizon is tracking iPhone users by default and there's nothing Apple can do. How to turn it off. And then in light gray subtitle, it says, it's happening on Android too. So as always, you get the headline, you get the clicks by saying iPhone, and all the Android users want to read it. But then in the subtitle, it's happening on all phones because Verizon and probably all of the cell phone carriers, they run the whole network. They can track things. They know so much about you.
They know everything. And I really hope that the traffic between my phone and the internet through T-Mobile servers is somewhat secure, because when I'm out and about, 100% of my traffic, my phone calls, my text messages, my web browsing, my apps that I use, all that data is going through their servers. And so I'm trusting them to be good stewards of that, but I don't have a lot of hope.
And I have always meant to look into it more, but like almost every single website you go to has a secure certificate now, so there's some protection there. They might be able to know you went to the website, but not get a lot more data. And like Apple Messages really does a good job of encrypting things so that like T-Mobile wouldn't see and everything. But, it's still there. And I'm actually in this article, it refers to what my other link was. And apps like Facebook and Snapchat still track you even if you opt out on iOS. And part of it is it's like cross app tracking is what they've cracked down on a lot. So anything you do in Facebook or Snapchat or just about any app, they can still take data. And it's talking in here from Mac Rumors, and it's based off I believe a Financial Times article, is that Apple still is putting some trust in the app developers to act well. They haven't completely cracked down and made it impossible. So all this to say, you're probably being tracked. Get over it. You can try to do, unless you throw your phone away and never go near the internet or anybody that does go near the internet. But the idea is, again, and it seems like we talk about this every week, what I don't want is a lot of individual tracking and that data being spilled out places. If it's group, trend, anonymous, super anonymous for better ads, I personally would like better ads that are more targeted to me. But it's trusting all the different hands that all this data goes through that is the hard part.
With all of the security breaches that also seem to happen every week, it's becoming an impossibility. It seems like it's hand in hand. If you're being tracked by a big company, even if it's an aggregate tracking, their information is being stolen from them. So it's all a moot point. Everyone has your information regardless. So you either participate in the digital lifestyle or you do not. And by the way, stores have been tracking your credit card activity since they were invented. Yes. So unless you pay with cash, you've been being tracked for decades.
Yes, indeed. So it's not just Facebook that is tracking you. It is anybody that can attempt to do that. And after those two stories, we got to go back to a classic for our bonus odd take. The 2021 Comedy Pet Photo Awards have been released.
Oh, boy.
And the overall winner, I'm retroactively removing this because you go to the website, there's a picture, I was starting to read what it said, and it's a slider which automatically changes to the next picture. Yes. You can't stop it that I can see. No. You can't go backwards. If you are at all involved in any website, make sure you do not have sliders on your website because so I'm waiting to get back to the...
Well, I have a real world story while we're waiting, and feel free to interrupt. My wife has shown me pictures of jewelry on a very fast slider. She's like, oh, I like this. And then it was gone. And then we had to wait for it to come back. No, is this one here? Look at this. It was ridiculous.
It's such a bad experience.
You couldn't even stop it.
Yes.
Screenshot it quick, Some people are just bad at their jobs.
The overall winner was Whiz Pop from Zoe Ross. They had a picture of it which linked to their Instagram, so instead of waiting for that slider to come back around. But yes, it is looks like a black lab that is facing the other direction, and then there's a bubble that is perfectly placed over its hindquarters, so it looks like it is blowing out a bubble from that end, from the opposite end where you would regularly blow bubbles, and it's pretty good. Yeah. But just some fun. They have different categories, and just a fun little thing.
They also have a gallery on their website. If you click there,
there's the gallery page.
You can see them in a list. Phew. Yes, thank you. Yeah, some of them are pretty hilarious. We have a cat, and you can point your camera at the cat, and it just sits there and looks at you.
Yes.
And then when you're not doing anything, it does something funny. It plays with something, and I have never been able. It's almost like the mythical, abominable snowman or Sasquatch. I just cannot capture a picture of that cat doing anything other than just being annoying.
Yes. And when Rex was still with us, it was, you could barely get the guy to walk around late this year. So it was not the most riveting. But click on the link or go to comedypetphoto.com and you can look at the winners. Good little laugh, good little something pure and fun on the internet, which can be rare these days.
Yes. Yeah. It is a joy to look at.
Yes. And you know what else is a joy to look at? Our picks of the week.
Well, today, Nate, I thought I'd break the cycle. Today, we're going to talk about a video game that I've been playing.
Oh, I was just thinking I think it was last week. I was like, man, Dave, it has been a while since you have talked about a game.
Yes. Well, this week we are going to talk about Mini Motorways. And I have found out about this game through Apple Arcade. Now, you don't have to be an Apple Arcade subscriber to play this game, but if you want to play it on iOS, you're going to have to. But it is also available on Steam. And Steam describes this as a Strategy simulation game about designing the roadmap for a growing city. Build a traffic network one road at a time to create a bustling metropolis. Redesign your roads, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's got this beautiful, minimalistic, flat art style, very modern looking. The sound effects are cool and cutesy and neat. The subtle things. This is a high quality, very well programmed application. You can zoom out and see the map, and you can hear the audio. And when you tap to kind of zoom in to do the editing, the audio increases because you're closer to the sound. And when you zoom back out, it dims back down, and you're seeing the overview. So subtle little things like that offer a very visceral, rewarding experience. And you just draw little roads around. They'll put up a house and like a factory, and they're red, and you've got to link them with roads. And then there'll be more houses that aren't linked to roads. You have to link them, but you only have a certain amount of roads within a certain period of time. So your resources are limited. And so you're waiting for the roads to reset. Sometimes there are mountains in the way that you have to build tunnels through, or there's a body of water that you have to build a bridge across. So it can get very hectic. And the way it's ranked is you try to keep your city operating as long as possible before the factories don't have enough workers and they close down or whatever the metaphor is.
Yeah.
But you get to a point where the work stops and it says, you've had the city for 47 days and have shuttled like 10,000 people to work or 5,000 people to work or whatever. Those numbers are actually big. I've gotten up to like 900, I think, in some of the cities. But it's really kind of addictive and fun. I don't really want to recommend a game that could be addictive for somebody.
Yes.
As a side note, Apple Arcade, if you're already paying for the Apple One and it's included, just get on there, look at the splash page, download a couple apps. I mean, why not? You're already paying for it.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying for it, it's $5 a month, I believe, or at least it used to be. Try it out. There's free trials. You can try some games. There are a couple go-tos that I play. I downloaded probably about 20 games last night and have kind of been slowly going through them. There's old classics that have been resurrected that aren't really available anymore. And there's new, different versions of, I'm looking here, Asphalt 8 Plus. That's one of those popular racing games where you have to buy all this in-game currency and stuff. Yes. With the Apple Arcade, all that stuff is gone. You still have things to work towards, but you're not constantly being stopped by in-app purchases and ads.
That is well worth the experience. Yeah, I honestly do. I think we were talking about in the last couple episodes. I wish I had more time or made more time for Apple Arcade, because I know, just like you were saying about this one, so many of the games are just beautifully done and just a great experience. So very
and
cool.
One of them that is not is Solitaire Plus, which is a mobilityware. It's been around for decades. It looks as terrible as it did when it was full of ads.
Windows 97.
Yeah, but it's still fun to play.
Yes. Windows 97, was that even a thing? Windows 95 and Windows 98? I'm creating new operating systems.
I don't think it was a thing, but we'll give you a pass this time.
Yes. Too many numbers, too many Windows versions. Windows 93.
No,
Windows 97, Windows 98. Okay, skip all that. Enough old Windows talk. Well, my pick of the week is equally as riveting as your game pick. This is something that I had to purchase for one of my clients. Now, many of us use laptops or tablets or phones, most of the time, and we're spoiled with having Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, especially if our device was built within the last 10 years. And if it's older, if your device is 10 years old or older, might be time to upgrade. But anyways, a lot of my clients, they use desktop Windows computers, for certain software, certain things. And so one of them, an HP desktop computer, and we actually have things wired in it, but I believe I've picked in the past USB Wi-Fi adapters, especially the TP-Link ones, where if you have a desktop that doesn't, he just got some new AirPods Pro and does a lot of Zoom calls on his computer. And so he was like, hey, does my computer have Bluetooth? And I'm like, well, a lot of the business ones don't. Some of the computer or computer. Consumer desktops will have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth built in, but this one didn't. So I was like, well, let me look on Amazon. And TP-Link also makes USB Bluetooth adapters. So if you have a device that doesn't have Bluetooth or an older Bluetooth, I will recommend they have adapter 4.0 and 5.0. I would definitely pay the extra $5 for the Bluetooth adapter 5.0, but $15, and you could get, especially if you have like AirPods and want to use them with your computer. So it's kind of I found a solution to a problem, so I figured I'd put it out there in case you have the same need. I actually have a Windows desktop that I kind of use for testing and storage here at home, and I was thinking that I should buy one of these, plus carry one just in my backpack for when I do get into a weird situation. As we were talking pre-show, Dave, we buy a lot of adapters and hope that we can find a place to use them. So if you ever need an adapter, check with us first. We might have you covered before you go out and buy one. But there's ways to get things done with computers these days, and Bluetooth is one of those ones where, again, we're spoiled on so many devices just having it built in, so that when you get a device that doesn't have it, it's like, what do I do? Well, here's the fix for that.
Good. Well, we had one exciting, wonderful pick this week with a cutesy game, and we had one very not exciting pick, a Bluetooth adapter, but still very useful.
Yes, and it does. I didn't even give you the title. It's the TP-Link USB Bluetooth adapter for PC 5.0 Bluetooth dongle receiver UB500. Supports Windows 10 8.1, which nobody on earth should be using, Windows 7, which you shouldn't be using anymore, for desktop, laptop, mouse, keyboard, printers, headset, speakers, PS4, Xbox controllers. So it does tie into gaming, and that's one of the things they have on their image here, is that if you had a Bluetooth game controller and had a gaming PC, this could get you connected there. So that gets me like half a star more excitement getting closer to your fun game to play.
Yeah, you had me at for gaming.
Yes. You had me at for gaming. Oh, true. As I often do. I often do. Well, with that, that is definitely a sign that we should wrap up this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your questions. Get on the Facebook group, wherever. Find us, listen, share with a friend, so that you can get out there and tech better. We did it. Chrome-based browser. Did it? Chrome-based browser. Did it? Chrome-based browser.
I hardly know her.